Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
Bandwidth for Ham Nation is provided by CacheFly at CacheFly.com.
This episode of Ham Nation is brought to you by DX Engineering. DX Engineering offers practically everything you need to outfit your shack, plus the fastest shipping in the industry. In-stock items ship the same day, Monday through Friday until 10 p.m. Eastern. For more information, visit dxengineering.com/hamnation. And by Icom. For more information, visit icomamerica.com/hamnation. And by audible.com. To download a free audiobook of your choice, go to audible.com/hamnation.
This is Ham Nation, episode number 273 for November 9th, 2016. 1.21 gigawatts.
Hello, everybody. Yep, I'm back. This is K9EID, and we're here to bring you an hour of fun and frolic and great knowledge about amateur radio. And this is Ham Nation that you're dialed into. And we got a lot of good stuff here tonight. Man, oh, man. We'll come back and see what's going on in the world of photography. I know that Dale's got a bunch of pictures. George is with us, and he's got the soldering iron cooking tonight. Going to show us a little more about that. And Gordo's got some nice stuff. So, George, how are you? You doing well?
I'm doing good, Bob, and yeah, we're bringing out the torch tonight, so you can expect some soldering action coming up.
Yay! All right, Gordo, where you been? What you doing?
I went to the beach today. The waves were 4 to 6. We have a photo next week to prove it, and the water is still 63 degrees, nice and warm. Great day, great waves.
Okay. And Don, Mr. Wilbanks, you've been out riding around in your car. What are you doing?
I have, yeah. We had the street fair and car show last weekend, so we had a lot of fun with that. And right now, I'm preparing for the Denver Broncos to come and visit us in the New Orleans Superdome, and I'm trying to figure out which of my many Saints hats I should wear. Should I wear the NFC Championship 2006, the NFC Championship 2009? Let's see. I've got the 50th anniversary. I've got the Super Bowl. I've got the Super Bowl winner hat. I don't know. Amanda will be here to represent the Geldings. I mean the Broncos. So we'll have to see what she has up her sleeve. But it's probably
maybe she can help you decide which hat. Okay.
I'm sure she can. Yeah, she'll probably tell me where to put several of these. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, Amanda's going to be here with the chat room, so we got a lot going on. Before we're going, I got a few things to show you guys and gals. I picked this up along my way. I guess we can buy this. I wonder if DX Engineering carries this, because the bands have really been bad. And call for Mel. Mel can do that. What do you think? I think Mel can help you with this, and you can take that outside and spray it on your antennas, and guess what? Nothing will happen. I'm just coming back from a great trip.
Mel uses that for cologne. I know that for a fact because I got a big nose full of it when I went there last October, and it smells lovely on her.
Spooky. Golly, I had a great trip to the north. I started out and here, went to the plant for a couple of days in Illinois, and then we drove to Columbus and then to Buffalo and on up to Toronto, where we met Mike, VE3MIC, who's he's one of the guys that keeps us all straight in the chat room. But I got a few pictures that I want to bring along the way here. Let's see if we can. That's why I show. That's the old Pierce Aero plant in Buffalo, New York. I didn't know that was there. Of course, it's an office building now, but very well maintained. But that's where they built Pierce Aeros, and all you guys and gals that are into all this stuff. Now, here you go. That is on a car lot in Buffalo. Where else but Buffalo, New York, could you go to a Chevy dealer? And one of the things is that. I think they had two of them, actually. We can go in, buy a pickup truck that's ready to go in the snow. I threw that in. I thought that was cool. The rest of these were taken along the way. Ted's is a very famous hot dog place, and I love it in Buffalo, and I had to take the picture. And this is Roberta. Roberta is one of the stallards on the Collins net. If you guys check into the Collins net on Tuesday and Thursday night, she's there from Ontario, big signal. And that's it's really always nice to see her there. And these are some of the shots from the workshop place where we did a workshop for him. That is Jack, and Jack Summers owns Radio World, one of our great dealers, and he's in Toronto. Had a nice booth there, and had a lot of our blue boxes and keeping guys and gals fixed up in headphones and microphones. So I thought there was also a picture of Mike there somewhere, but if not, I'll have to check it out and see what happened to it. But we had a good time there, and I have a good time wherever I go, and I really appreciate all the folks. It was amazing how many of you came up, and they been watching Ham Nation for quite a while, and we're headed to the west coast of Redondo Beach for the TRW banquet this weekend. So we'll hopefully be back by next Wednesday. Out there having fun and talking about ham radio. What else can I tell you? Well, listen, let's go see what Gordo's got. I know he's got a couple of things going on, and so out to Costa Mesa. Oh, hey, there's the picture. There's Mike, VE3MIC.
Hey,
I knew it. Hey, how about that? Yay. Mike has some great comments. He emailed me on some comments of some audio we did in the workshop. I appreciated his help. So we meet up every time I'm in Toronto, and we see him at Dayton. So thanks a lot, Mike. So it's all yours, Gordo. Let's see what you've been doing, and where are you going next?
Well, let's see. I'll probably go to the beach tomorrow just because the waves are nice and big. This past weekend was Stone Mountain Amateur Radio get-together, and we were going to have the short shots of Stone Mountain, but I thought something even more impressive, so we'll save that for next week. Coming up tomorrow night, Peoria Amateur Radio Club. I'll be there via Skype. And then this weekend, Fort Wayne Ham Fest, November 12 and 13. They do a great job. And then for those of you on the East Coast and New Jersey, November 18, 19, and 20, a couple weekends away, it's the KJI Open House with Gene, Randy, Marianne, Drew, and the Cats. Well, you know, if you read the current issue of QST magazine, they're talking about the new ham bands coming, 472 to 479 not megahertz, kilohertz, as well as 137 kilohertz. Well, it's going to be tough maybe to get a receiver down to 137, but to get a receiver down to 472 and 479, many of today's transceivers will do that. Many of them have converters that will allow you to go lower in frequency. But what are you going to do about an antenna that needs to be about 1,500 feet long? Well, you're going to use not an actual tuner built into the radio that's more a trimmer than a tuner, but an actual antenna terminal unit, an antenna coupler or an antenna tuner, whatever you call it, the one with knobs on it. So I want to show you how easy it is to know whether or not you can get down that low in frequency and get some decent reception. And it all deals with noise. Do you hear that noise? Well, we're not tuned up yet, so we're going to go over here to our antenna tuner, and we're going to rotate the inductor until you hear the noise come up remarkably. Here we go. No good. Now we adjust both the right knob and the left knob, We don't turn the inductor any further, and we peak these two knobs because the inductor has peaked us up. And this is the way you do a manual antenna tuner. We don't have privileges down there, so we can't transmit. But again, let me show you what you're listening for is the peak in noise, and it's probably going to be around position Foxtrot or Golf. Ah. So that's how we do a manual antenna tuner way down at 472 kilohertz. Now, we don't have that band yet, so don't start transmitting on it, but do know that many antenna tuners that are much larger than this unit will be able to get down there and give you reception. So try it. If your rig goes below the AM broadcast band, go on down to 472 to 479, our future ham band. That's kilohertz, not megahertz. And try the inductor knob and see if you can find where your current dipole antenna peaks, and that's probably going to give you capabilities to start listening to some of the signals way down there at the bottom of what will be our new band, maybe a few more months to come. Now, for tuners, you want one with a huge loading coil, so I recommend you get together with the experts at DX Engineering. Tell them Gordo and Bob and the Ham Nation gang sent you, and what you need is an antenna tuner with a huge amount of inductance to get you all the way down below the AM broadcast band. In fact, let's take a look and see what's happening with DX Engineering.
Wait a minute. Did you just call me a huge load? Well,
hi, Don.
Wouldn't be the first time today. From people who love me. Hey, it's holiday season is here. You realize that? It's November already? They're playing Christmas music on the radio. They've got Christmas stuff. They had Christmas stuff already up in the stores before Thanksgiving, for crying out loud. But it's here. Can't get around it. The holiday season is here. And if you're looking for gifts for ham operators in your life, or for yourself, because, nobody loves you like you, quick trip to DX Engineering will give you plenty of ideas. Here are a few of the newest accessories from the DX Engineering catalog. The new Geochron World Ham Radio Clocks. Oh, my Lord. Available only from DX Engineering. These things are a piece of art. I saw one, of course, in the K3LR Mega Station when I was there last year. Stunning Geochron clock displays geography, 12 and 24-hour local time, sunrise, sunset, all the time zones, sun movement, and latitude and longitude. You'll see the same clock in the stations of top-level DXers and contesters. I just mentioned one, K3LR. Also, a lot of government buildings and broadcast newsrooms use them as well. DX Engineering worked with Geochron to develop a new version tailored specifically to the amateur radio community. And these new World Ham Radio clocks include details like CQ zones and country prefixes. They're 3 feet by 2 feet. They're huge. They're available with black vinyl or black anodized aluminum finish. Look at that. Wow. Just beautiful. You need one of those on your shack wall. And something else you need along your wall, on your bookshelf, more books to the extensive collection of literature from sources like the RSGB, Radio Society of Great Britain, and the ARRL. There's a massive selection of titles at DX Engineering. For operators of really any skill level, from a beginning novice to someone who's been around the block several times. Cover a huge range of topics, antenna building, digital modes, and everything in between. Also, the ARRL publishes an annual handbook, operating manual, and repeater directory, and DX Engineering carries only the most up-to-date editions. Now, you got a bunch of cables laying around. You're trying to figure out, how am I going to organize these things? Rip ties. Rip ties, perfect gift for hams who do a lot of portable operation or have a ton of cables laying around the shack. Rip ties make it super easy to store and organize your cables. You secure them with a reusable strap. They're rugged, they're durable, designed for years of use at home and in the field. They come in several lengths as well. And if you're an avid CW operator, you're going to want a paddle pad. The DX Engineering paddle pad, it's like a mini mouse pad for your Morse code key. Excellent stocking stuffers because it's small, it's inexpensive, and the enthusiastic CW operator will absolutely love it. They prevent your key from sliding around on your desk, allowing your wrist to stay right at the perfect comfortable angle. You can select a large one or a small one. They're available now at DX Engineering. And, of course, DX Engineering ships faster than anyone else in the industry. If you get your order in by 10 p.m. Eastern, and if it's in stock, it'll be on a truck headed your way tonight. Proven products, expert advice. DX Engineering helps you shrink the globe. Go online, request your catalog, or shop online 24/7 at dxengineering.com/HamNation. dxengineering.com. I drink to your expertise, my friends, with my Saints brew, because I am a Saints fan, not a Broncos fan. Amanda, it's all coming to an end for Amanda and the Broncos, but we'll get to that later. dxengineering.com/HamNation. We thank them for their support of Ham Nation. And now why don't we check with the world of Amateur Radio Newsline and the news, shall we? From Amateur Radio Newsline Report number 2036, these are the Ham Nation headlines for Wednesday, November 9th, 2016. Remembering former ARRL President Jim Haney, W5JBP.
Jim had been in failing health when he died on November 1st. He was the ARRL's 13th president and began his term in January of 2000. He served in that post for 6 years. His tenure was marked by strong advocacy for ham radio education, and his promotion of radio science in the classroom led to the ARRL's Education and Technology program. He was outspoken on Capitol Hill on such issues as spectrum protection and deed restrictions. Haney, who was named Amateur of the Year at the 2000 Dayton Hamvention, was a force in mustering hams to assist after the 9/11 attacks and testified before Congress about radio response during Hurricane Katrina. Jim Haney was 73.
That was Stephen Kinford, N8WB. Other silent keys include contester and DXer Paul Obert, K8PO, who was 72, and former ham and Medal of Science winner Leo Baranek, who was 102. It's smart to be a ham, but it can pay off especially well to be a smart young ham.
The ARRL Foundation is looking for a few bright students. Actually, the foundation is searching for a couple of dozen, all of them hopeful recipients of more than 80 scholarships available from the foundation in amounts ranging from $500 to $5,000. The scholarship application window opened on October 1st, and students who are active radio amateurs have until January 31st to submit their online application, along with a PDF of their transcript from their most recently completed academic year. The scholarship supports the students' post-secondary school education in the academic year 2017 to 2018. Last year, 81 students were awarded funds for a total of $120,150 in scholarships, which are funded entirely through contributions to the foundation by clubs, friends, and amateurs themselves. Read more about the scholarships or find an application by visiting arrl.org/scholarship-descriptions. For Amateur Radio Newsline, I'm Jerry Goodrich, KF5KRN.
Finally this week, a terrorist attack planned on a site well known to hams was foiled. Again, here's Stephen Kinford, N8WB.
2 men in Georgia have been charged with plotting an attack on the high-frequency active auroral research project in Alaska, a facility of great interest to the amateur community. Authorities released news of the arrest as Newsline went to production. An arsenal of weapons was also recovered that the police believed were to be used in the planned attack. The plot was discovered during an investigation of reports that one of the suspects was engaged in selling drugs. Marmion Grimes, a representative of the University of Alaska at Fairbanks, told the Alaska Dispatch that the research facility has faced threats before and was grateful Georgia authorities were alert. The authorities said the pair had told them they were acting on directions from God.
For the rest of this week's Amateur Radio News, please listen to the full Amateur Radio Newsline report online, on a repeater near you, or on shortwave radio station WTWW at 9930 and 5085 kilohertz. And that's all from the Amateur Radio Newsline, your independent source for amateur radio news for 4 decades and counting at www.arnewsline.org. With Stephen Kinford and N8WB, Jerry Goodrich, KF5KRN, Karen Eve Murray, KD2GUT at the news desk in New York, and our news team across the globe. I'm Don Wilbanks, AE5DW73. We'll see you next time here on Ham Nation. Now, here's the solar update with Dr. Tamitha Skov.
We have a solar storm that's hitting Earth now, but it's much slower than expected. But it might actually get a boost for some fast wind that's on its way to Earth now. And who knows, it might actually bring us some aurora. Those stories and more in the news this week. The sun has been pretty active this week. It's actually been firing off a few solar storms, including a big filament eruption that became Earth-directed. Now, we've been waiting for this solar storm to hit Earth, but it's been moving quite slowly. And if you've been following the United States presidential election, you might have actually missed it, but it now is impacting Earth, but it's awfully slow. The neat thing is that we've got this coronal hole here that's sending some fast wind hot on its tail, so it might actually speed things up, push the wind to be fast enough to actually cause some storming, and we might actually get some aurora over the next few days. Switching to our M-flare threat meter, you can see we are well below the seafloor right now, and it's very quiet. We hardly have any flares at all, let alone C-class flares, so you GPS operators are probably loving life. But you amateur radio operators, we hardly have enough solar flux to even support radio propagation. So we're getting to those marginal levels, and it's going to continue like this as we get closer to solar minimum. Switching to our solar storm conditions, you can see at the end of October, we did have that extended period of storming. That was due to some fast wind that gave us aurora pretty much all over the world. But since then, things have died down and gotten quieter and quieter, and that's pretty much where we are right now. Now, we've got that new solar storm that's hitting Earth right now, but it's still moving very, very slowly, so it's not causing much storming. But when that fast wind boosts the speed up, we might actually rise back up to storm levels, and you amateur radio operators expect that your propagation is probably going to diminish, or you're going to have issues starting maybe around the 10th or so, and then things will kind of be scattered for the next few days after that. And that big storm that happened at the end of October and in through Halloween, that caused aurora all over the world in places like Poland and in Scotland and also North Yorkshire in the UK. Now, moving across the pond, we had a gorgeous aurora in the Yukon, and also in Whistler, and in Calgary. And in the United States, we had gorgeous aurora in New Hampshire. It reached Cheyenne, Wyoming. Also, we had some in Bend, Oregon. And a lucky traveler even watched the aurora as he flew from Florida back to the UK. Now, in the southern part of the world, we had gorgeous aurora in Queenstown, New Zealand. It made it to Hobart, Tasmania, and believe it or not, all the way up to Perth, Australia. So what else does the sun have in store for us this week? Well, this is stereo A. It's our backside monitor. You can see here's Earth, here's the sun, and here's stereo A staring at the sun from behind. And what you can see is a few active regions on the sun, but not too much. We've got a small coronal hole that's going to be rotating into Earth view here in the next few days. That could bring us maybe a little chance of storming in the next week or so. But the big story is this massive coronal hole. See all that black? That's the hole that caused the huge storming over Halloween. You can see it's still really well formed, and that thing will be rotating back into Earth view, going to cause more problems for us again in about 2 weeks. Returning to the disk, you can see region 2605 is now rotated off of the west limb. 2606 is pretty much faded into nothing. And we have a new region that's rotating into Earth view right now, but it looks pretty quiet too. Hopefully this will help keep the solar flux up a bit, because we'd have absolutely no chance for any large class flares. And now it's just a matter of keeping the flux high enough so you amateur radio operators can enjoy some propagation. Switching to our solar storm conditions and aurora possibilities over the coming week, we are in the middle of this solar storm that's hitting Earth right now, but it's not having a very strong impact because it's such a slow-moving storm. Now, we're expecting that fast wind to come in behind it and start speeding things up here in the next couple days. So at high latitudes, NOAA is expecting active conditions with about a 20% chance of a minor storm. At mid-latitudes, we're only expecting unsettled conditions with only about a 5% chance of a minor storm. So you aurora chasers, you may not have nearly as big a chance to see aurora, especially in the upper tier of the United States, than we had hoped. But you amateur radio operators are probably cheering right now, because this means propagation won't be affected nearly as badly as we might have thought. Now, these conditions should probably continue through weekend until this fast wind moves out of the Earth strike zone, and then things will begin to settle down. Switching to your solar flare and particle radiation storm outlook over the coming week, pretty much everything is in the green. We really don't have much activity going on in terms of flares right now, so your GPS operators are probably loving life, and you amateur radio operators, at least in terms of flares, there's absolutely no threat for any radio blackouts. However, with this low activity comes a low solar flux, so we're having this in the yellow because it barely is enough to support amateur radio propagation right now, and this kind of trend will continue over the next week. So the space weather this week is really keeping us on our toes. We are getting hit by a solar storm right now, but it's slower than anticipated, so the activity levels are staying quite low. And that's good news for you GPS operators and you amateur radio operators who kind of want to keep things quiet so you can enjoy good signal propagation. As far as you aurora photographers are concerned, just be a little patient, because once that fast wind hits, it may kick things back up and maybe even bring us up to storm levels so you can get a good aurora shot or two. But that may not happen until we get a little bit closer to the weekend. I'm Tama the Scove. Thank you for watching.
Nice to have Dr. T back with us again this week. Great information, and she's the best. So smart. Just, I feel like I lose IQ points every time I watch her, but I also learn stuff, which is really, really good. Someone else I always learn stuff from is George and Smoke and Solder. And George, the iron's hot. Is that Bronco hair I smell burning? No, that's not till Sunday in the dome. What are you doing over there? What's the story?
Well, Don, I've got a question first. I just got to know, Dr. Scove is not here with us, but I'll ask you, because maybe you know the answer. What the heck is a GPS operator? I don't understand.
Well, you could ask the same about what is a ham operator. I went to a ham fest once, and a friend of mine had his Huntsville Hamfest badge on, and the lady in Birmingham at the restaurant said, "Hamfest? What do y'all do? Chase pigs up and down the street?" And so I guess a GPS operator is someone who chases, I don't know. I'm making it up as I go along. Someone who does drone, probably a drone pilot, I would think. Probably a drone pilot. Okay, see, now Gordon knows. Gordon knows everything. What is it? It's a drone pilot,
I don't know everything, right? But those that do survey work in the field with GPS have differential GPS corrections. And when we have huge amounts of solar activity, it tends to affect the local land-based differential GPS a lot more than the 1575 megahertz coming down spread spectrum. So it's those GPS operators that are surveying down to the centimeter using differential corrections on very low frequency that really have problems when the sun is acting up. And that's my story. Over.
Is it just me, George? Is it just me, or does he look like the doctor from Back to the Future?
He does a little bit, And that could be a flux capacitor behind him there, too. Gordo, thanks for that. I had no idea. I was thinking there was another important hobby out there that I was just completely missing, and I just didn't get the point of, well, here I am. This is where I am, But I see now.
Operator. I don't know. Some kind of a surgeon or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, tonight we'll change something I do know a little bit about. I've got a new soldering iron, and that's one of my favorite things. And, well, this is a new one here from our friends at IsoTip. I think you're going to like it. Today on Smoke and Solder, we're going to look at a new soldering iron here from the folks at IsoTip. This is the Solder Pro 90 butane soldering iron kit. There's the Solder Pro 90 right there. Sometimes you need to do some soldering and you may not have electricity handy, or you may want your iron isolated electrically. And something like this is a good choice. Let's see what we've got in the kit here. First, we've got the Solder Pro 90. It's a butane-powered soldering iron. We can change the tips out by just unscrewing right here, pulling it off, and dropping the old tip out. Slide the new one right in. Screw it right back on. The iron comes with 3 different tips here. It's got the small tip, and we've got one a little bit larger for those larger jobs. We've got a hot knife tip here for cutting plastic. Pretty nice. I haven't seen one of those on a butane iron before. And there's also a heat gun attachment, which is also quite handy. It comes with a little tube of solder here. I'm not sure what this is, if it's leaded or lead-free or exactly what, but a little tube of solder included. And this I have not seen in a butane soldering iron kit before. It's a little sponge to clean your tip with. The first thing we're going to want to do is put some fuel in this. So we'll just get a good grade of, this says premium butane fuel. Just plug it right in the bottom here. Hold it upside down like this. And when we see butane leaking out around the top, we'll know we've got it filled. Now, before I begin, I'm observing that I've got the lever here at the bottom that turns the unit on and off and controls the flow of fuel down to the off position. And I've got the red lever here toward the bottom. You can hear the fuel go in. And we can see a little bit bubbling up around there, so should be full now. I've not used this soldering iron before, so let's just take a quick look at it. As we said a moment ago, a lever here for on and off, and it controls the temperature that you're going to produce at the tip. There's also a lever here that's used as an igniter, so you don't have to have a cigarette lighter to light this with. Typically, they say you'll want to run this control about mid-position, and that's where you should put it to strike the unit. So I've got it in the middle here. If we listen, we can hear that butane's coming out of it, so let's slide the ignition lever up here. I saw a little bit of smoke, and I don't know if you can see it here on the camera, but I can see it. There's a little orange glow right through the holes there. The tip should be heating up now. This has not been used before. Oh yeah, we can see here on the other side of the tip clearly it's heated up in there. Now, they say in the instructions that you don't have to see the catalyst glow for this to solder, but in this case it is, and I think that's a good indication. So let's tin the tip. We'll flow a little bit of solder on it. Well, that heated up really fast. I'll wipe a little off there. Now, of course, we got to solder something, and I don't have a connector I need to solder right now, so I just twisted up a little bit of wire right here. See how good a job it does. Works just like any other soldering iron. Now to turn it off, we just slide the lever back toward the left, and that shuts it down. Now we should let it cool off before we put the cover back over the end. Things like this are really handy when you're doing work outdoors or in an automobile. You just want to be kind of careful that you don't get paper or something around the edges here. That could catch on fire, but I've used similar irons to this, not quite this nice, for years. And it's really a great convenience because they warm up really fast. You don't have to worry about running an extension cord or charging a battery. It's just there and ready to go. And this one's got a handy little stand that you can sit it down to let it cool off, or when you're working, if you need to set it aside, you can easily do that. If you need a blowtorch, you just take the tip out, put the tip housing back on without a tip. A nice little Sharp flame there. Adjust it down to what you need, and that's a nice blue flame. And there's also a heat gun attachment. And there you go, the IsoTip Solder Pro 90. You know, I've been without a butane soldering iron for about a year now, and it's really going to be nice to have one of these in hand again. So convenient. You can learn more about this and all the other IsoTip products by visiting iso-tip.com. And this really is nice. It's smoke and solder approved. You can find them around. DX Engineering even carries this, and a few other models of them too. I really like having a butane soldering iron. I don't use it for normal everyday use, but when I've got something quick that I need to do, it heats up quick, particularly when I'm going to be doing something like in a vehicle or outdoors or away from electricity. It's really hard to beat. So you might want to check those out. Well, if you're going to be looking for something to do this Saturday night at 8 p.m. Central, join us over at amateurlogic.tv. We'll be shooting the next episode there. And I've got some cable here I'm going to be talking about. Some of you may have seen some of this before. It's got sort of a translucent tan jacket on it, and there's two shields on there, and the whole thing's silver-plated. So join us over there, amateurlogic.tv, Saturday night, 8 Central, and we'll talk more about that and a lot of other stuff. You know, last week I asked a question: which of the following is an advantage of CMOS integrated circuits compared to TTL integrated circuits? Your choices were A, low power consumption, B, high power handling capacity, C, better suited for RF amplification, or D, better suited for power supply regulation. Well, we drew a lucky winner there, and it's Brian Smith, KI6ERR, and he's going to win this MFJ giant LED alarm clock. If I can get it to where I can show you, it displays time, both 12 and 24 hours, built-in alarm clock. This thing is big enough you can see it across the shack, or you know, I can even read it without my glasses on. So nice clock there. Thanks, MFJ, for that. Oh, by the way, Brian said it's A, low power consumption. Well, for next week, I've got another question here. And this one you should know the answer to because we just talked about it. This little Solder Pro 90 here, what fuel does it use? If you think you know the answer to that, well, send your answer to me, hamnationcontest@gmail.com. I've got a great prize here from DX Engineering. We haven't given away any of these in a while. This is a DX Engineering canvas tote bag. A really nice bag. No, this is not like those little shopping bags you see around. This is a heavy-duty canvas tote bag here. DX Engineering is going to be sending it out to some lucky ham. So send your answer to me. Let me know what kind of fuel that Solder Pro 90 uses. HamNationContest@gmail.com. And we'll be back in just a moment here. But first, let's get a message from Icom. Holiday season is here. Looking for the ideal gift for your favorite contester? The holidays are just around the corner, and Icom has an array of radios to fill your stockings or place under the tree. Perfect for the contester on the go, try the IC7300. It's a high-performance, innovative HF transceiver with compact design. The real fun starts here. RF direct sampling, 15 discrete bandpass filters, large 4.3-inch color touchscreen, real-time spectrum scope, and SD memory card slot. Push performance to the pinnacle with the IC7600. Following in the footsteps of Icom's flagship radio, the IC7600 offers intuitive operation and the latest DSP technologies. Digital IF filter, dual DSP, 5.8-inch ultra-wide TFT display, and high-resolution real-time spectrum scope. Raise the bar with the IC7851. Hear what others cannot with this HF 50 MHz transceiver. Reciprocal mixing dynamic range, crystal clear local oscillator design, spectrum scope, dual receivers, digital voice recorder, and more. To learn more about these and all of Icom's great radios, visit icomamerica.com/amateur today. You can tune in and enter to win after each episode of Ham Nation. Go to icomamerica.com/HamNation, register to win for some great swag prizes like t-shirts and hats. And while you're there, you can learn how you might win the monthly grand prize drawing for a new radio. For November, that radio is going to be the Icom ID51A Plus dual band, dual watch, handy talkie. Covers both VHF and UHF, analog and D-Star, built-in GPS receiver, DV and FM repeater list functions, independent AM/FM receiver, free Android app, and a lot more. So go to icomamerica.com/HamNation after each episode, register to win, sign up, good luck, and don't forget to follow Icom America Inc. on Facebook and Twitter. And this is a really nice little radio, so go there after this episode, register. Well, now it's time to get our friend Dale in here. I know he's got some, what have you got tonight? Is it some shack pictures, Dale?
Hey, George, thanks. We've got a few Show Me Your Shack photos tonight and a short Joda film, as well as another installment of Bob Bryce's DIY antenna project. We'll start with a short 32-second clip sent to us by Elliot, licensee for KM6FDN, which operated as K6A during the Joda weekend. His personal call is W6EL. Here's this clip.
And I just think it's really fun. This is Skylar. I like in science, history, and electrical engineering, and the radio.
Hi, Skylar. My name's Nate, and I enjoy history, but I'm not a big fan of it.
Okay, well, thanks, Elliot, for submitting the video from the JOTA weekend. Elliot's son Skylar was the one on the radio, KM6DGR, and he was in the video talking about electrical engineering. He was on 40 meters. Well, since our video clips are short tonight, we decided to show a handful of Show Me Your Shack photos that have arrived during the past month. And Brian, if you'll bring up the first slide now. The first three images were submitted by Jay, KB0TS. He lives out in Green Valley, Arizona. This photo shows the completed ZZRX40. That's the receiver project featured recently right here on Ham Nation. And the next slide, Jay tested the receiver by driving a couple of blocks to the Titan Missile Museum's Collins radio site. He used their 80-foot tall discone antenna. He reported excellent reception. Finally, here's Jay's QSL card. Well, Bob sent me some pictures the other day from Larry, WD9SEF, and his recent tower project. Here's the tower on the ground and the big rig Larry used to raise the tower is coming up next. It's a nice piece of equipment. And the new tower upright in its final operating position. Very nice. From Larry, WD9SEF. Our closing image comes from Pat. He's K7LNP. He's the star of the photo, or he's not the star of the photo. The star is Pat's granddaughter. Her name's Sierra, but she goes by Cece, and she enjoys hanging out in the shack with Grampy and loves to play with the buttons on the Yaesu FT 1000 MP Mark V. Pat's found that when Cece gets upset, a little bit of white noise from the radio seems to calm her down. So that might be a trick for you. Now we'll wrap up tonight's video segment with part 5 of the outstanding DIY series from Bob Rice, VE3HKY. Tonight, he shows us how to use an antenna analyzer as a dip meter. Here's Bob.
A pictorial or schematic, whichever we prefer to call it, of the interface that I've made up. And I'll show you that in a little better detail, real close up in a minute or two. What we've got is this would be where your end connector is, and this is the center pin of your end connector would come to that point. This here, of course, is ground, and the shield or the outer casing then of your end connector connects to that point. So all we're doing is we have a 180 ohm resistor coming, again, would be off the center pin and going to ground. Now we have another resistor, 15 ohm, again coming from the center pin, as it were, and going through a 0.01 or a 102 capacitor, whichever you prefer, and coming down to this position here. This position here is where I have my alligator clips fastened. And from the alligator clips, of course, I make one loop around the actual trap, and that's how I do my measurements. Now, this has worked very well. It's a circuit that I did see on the internet, and I've used it, and I've had no problems with it. Now, any of the results that I'm getting here today, I believe, because I've done this before, and then I've compared with 2 commercial units. And in both cases, this checked out as being very, very accurate in terms of the SWR being, in fact, the resonant frequency of my trap. So I'll just give you a close-up now of the printed circuit board that I made. And, of course, you can follow this diagram, I think, without any problem whatsoever. Now, that should provide you with a good view of the underside of the printed circuit board and just how I have it fastened into the end connector. You should be able to see that on the side. I've just simply soldered it in. I've cut a slot in the BNC portion of the end connector, and then just mounted my components on it. Very simple, very straightforward, but seems to work very, very well. I've had no problems with it whatsoever. Okay, I got the length of the printed circuit board to 2 1/8 inches. And at that point is where I have my lowest SWR, and I'm running it at about 6.979, so about 6.98 is where I'm at right now. I was aiming for 7, so that'll be just fine.
Okay, very, very good. A nice video from Bob Rice. He's got one more. He'll be back for the final segment of his making a 7-band semi-vertical antenna on November 23rd. And a lot of people have asked how they can view the full video. Well, you can do that by visiting https://vimeo.com/339-26047. That last part there again after vimeo.com is 339-26047. You'll find the full hour-plus long video where he makes the entire antenna there. And be sure to join us in a couple of weeks for part 6, the final part of VE3HKY's DIY video series. And just maybe we could have a video from you. That would be nice. We can use it. The queue is empty right now, so do send your video if you've got one to HamNationVideos at twit.tv. Amanda's going to be up next pretty quick with questions from the chat room, but first we need to check in with Don. I guess he has some information about Audible. Love that program. It's very nice. Don, what's the word?
isn't it the best? I have a long commute. You know, I've got a 125-mile round trip commute every day, and audiobooks is just an amazingly good way to fill that time because I don't have an HF radio in the car anymore. And Audible is the best way to do it. Audible.com is a leading provider of audiobooks across all types of literature, fiction, nonfiction, even periodicals. They also offer language instruction and foreign language audiobooks if you're trying to learn a language. And because you're a fan of Ham Nation, you can get a free audiobook to give you a chance to try out the service. Now, one you might consider is this one here. We just had an election here in the United States, of course, and for me, nobody beats Jack Ryan as president. So Tom Clancy's Executive Orders, just a great political thriller. Jack Ryan is confirmed as the vice president minutes before a huge terrorist attack kills the president, most of his cabinet, all but a few members of Congress, the entire Supreme Court, and all of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. Suddenly, Jack Ryan's president, and that's where Executive Orders begins. And it's just a huge story, as all Tom Clancy stories are. But that's one you can get for free if you would like, or another one of your choice. They're all there at audible.com/HamNation. Go on there and peruse to your delight. Audible.com/HamNation. You're gonna like it. Promise you. You're gonna like audible.com just as much as I do. Everybody who's tried it absolutely loves it. Unfortunately, not everybody who's tried the Broncos loves the Broncos. I mean, you know, we tried the Broncos, and the horse meat just doesn't appeal to me, Amanda. I'm sorry. I know your Broncos are coming to our Superdome, to the big house, you know, and it's the Saints' 50th year, you know. Let me put on the hat. It's the Saints' 50th year. We're 50 years old now, and I know you guys won the Super Bowl last year and everything, but you know, it's been a little while for us.
In the Super Bowl 2 years before then.
But,
and
I know,
wait a minute, how many championship rings do we have?
We have one.
So
one. All
right, you guys
hey, it's one more.
If we
than
could
the
get this loudmouth to
That's
hush
one.
for a second, I could give my reasons here on why you guys should be going for the Broncos instead. Listen, reasons to vote for the Denver Broncos. First of all, the Saints, Voodoo region, is this good for our children? I don't think so. What about their spectators? Basket of deplorables? I think so. It's sorry, I'm trying to do this with a straight face, but I can't.
I've been called worse at home this morning by people who allegedly love me.
Number one spectator right here, a deplorable. And no matter what, wait, you know what, you guys? I think I'm giving the wrong speech. I'm sorry.
We may only have one ring, but it's oh, that's right in front of my face. It's one more than the Falcons. That's all I gotta say. I love you, Amanda.
Give my team a chance. And by the way, you guys, if the Broncos don't win, if the Saints don't win, Don and I, we still love each other. You're still my best friend, Don, and I'm not going to unfriend you on Facebook. And we're going to unite behind the winner, and we're going to cheer them on and hope that they can put America together. So with that, cheers, you guys. Go America. And woohoo. I know. All right, let's get to the questions here. No. Broncos. Aw, thank you. That's great, Brian. All right, I do have quite a bit of questions today. So first, Gordo, this question is for you. W0KRD wants to know, what is the best day to visit Quartzsite? During your
best days for Quartzsite would be the 22nd through the 29th. Every single day, we've got everything going on. And in about 2 weeks, www.quartzfest.org, and we'll have the full lineup. So just pick the day that has the most interest for you, and welcome aboard.
That's great. Okay, the next thing we have is David, W5TN, and this is also for you, Gordo, because I think you might have the answer for this. He says, what are the rules for the number of stations on 60 meters JT65? And that's on 5357 kilohertz, seems to be the JT65 channel. The FCC rules about this seem to be confusing.
Yeah, you just want to make sure that you're in the center of the channel. During some activity this past week with Mars operation and others, those responding to the Mars stations who are at the bottom of that particular channel need to be centered in the center. Over.
Okay, that sounds good. Sorry, I had to adjust my light there a little bit. It might have been a little bit dark. All right, this next question is for George. VE4TTH Peter wants to know, our club is looking for a kit to build as part of a club activity, and they would like to build an SSB transceiver. Do you have any suggestions for a kit that is about $100 or less?
Oh, gee. Well, not having thought about it much, I kind of like the soft rock kits. You know, I've built a number of those. They're maybe not for beginners because it's some small components on there, but it does make a pretty good little receiver. Actually, even a transceiver for $100. As far as a standalone, I'm not sure because I haven't looked at those lately. I'm sure there's some around, but I wish I had a better answer, but I just don't.
Okay,
I
so
like George. I like the MFJ. While they're not necessarily kits, they're fun to prowl around and do a little extra tuning. So the single banders from MFJ deserve a look-see.
The adventure radios.
Yeah.
I think.
All right. And if any of you guys have any other answers or solutions or some suggestions about it in the chat room, please feel free to type them away, and he'll probably appreciate that. All right. I'm not sure I have any other questions. Oh, I do have some more announcements. You guys listen in to WTWW not only tonight, because they're doing the live simulcast of us, of course, but listen on Saturday nights at 8 p.m. Central Time, and you can hear some great theater organ from the Ozarks. So I hope you guys will enjoy that and tune in for that. Other announcements, we have AK400 has SparkFest Freedom Lake Park, Pinellas Park, Florida, and the entrance fee is free. So it's free into that HamFest. Check it out, you guys. I think that's this weekend. And other announcements, yes, check out our Facebook page on it's called Ham Nation on Twit. And don't forget, you guys should look at Valerie's video that she put on there. They were working the Walter Cronkite special event station as W9 Charlie. Great video, and their audio, I guess we've seen reports from all the way around the world that their audio was fantastic. So check that out on our Facebook page as well. Definitely. And of course, Val, she's such a great operator. I mean, she works the pile up like a champ because she is. So great job as always, Val. And I know that there were several other people that worked there as well out of their ham shack there. KD8 YVJ Chris Short Rib, as some of you guys know him. He's receiving his Hiram Percy Maximum at the Voice of America Museum of Broadcasting this Saturday at 1 p.m. He would encourage all of you guys to come out there and support him. If you can't, you can listen live, I believe. So Google that and you can find out the information on that. Other than that, net 7180, no 20 meter net, 14 Charlie for D-Star, and do drop in for Echolink. We're going down. You are going down, Don. You and your Saints.
We're already down. We were down for years. We had bags on our head. We won the Super Bowl. Yeah, it's been a couple of years ago, and we've kind of been down, but the defense is picking up, and it's going to be fun. And I'm having fun with this little friendly rivalry that you and I have, because I just have the utmost respect for you. And I love the Broncos. I'm not kidding you. I do. I like Denver. Denver's one of my favorite teams. So I'm looking forward to having them come down and enjoying some good Southern hospitality. They're going to leave with their tails between their legs, but still, we're going to be nice to them.
Let's do a friendly wager. We'll do a Facebook picture swap. Something. I'll praise the Saints. You praise the Denver Broncos.
All right, wins. I can do. Yeah, I can do that. That'll work for me
for a week or so, something like that.
Yeah, we do that. Yeah, change a profile pic or something.
Yep. Good.
That's it. Yeah, cool. I know what. I'll put your face. Your face in a Denver in a Broncos hat as my profile pic.
And it scared me a little bit.
And if it goes the other way, you'll put my face in a Saints hat as your profile pic for a week. How's that sound?
I was totally thinking I was going to put your picture on a horse's rear end, but whatever.
One works as good as the other.
Same thing, right? Same thing,
One
everybody.
works is- yeah, exactly.
Tell us in chat room who's going to win this game this weekend.
I got
All
the
right,
cheeks for
that's
it. There she goes. There she goes. Mission accomplished.
Oh, that was so funny. Oh, good job. Okay, yeah, now let's, wow, who's closing this show up tonight?
George.
George,
No?
take it
I'm
away.
done. Save us from ourselves.
Please.
Well, let's see.
We've rendered
Well,
him
thank-
speechless as well. Ah, perfect.
Perfect positioning.
I love it.
Got it, Brian.
Very nice.
How can you
Very
top
nice,
that?
Brian.
Put that in still store.
Good job.
Show title tonight, Horse's Rear End, maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be
Like
good.
it.
That's funny. There's your profile pic. And Doc Brown right there above me. Doc Brown.
Oh, I was supposed to ask you, Gordo, will you please say 1.21 gigawatts, please?
1.2 gigawatts.
Okay,
Oh,
good enough.
close enough.
That
We're
was
pretty much
good.
done here, I think. Our
We're
work
done.
here is done. Yeah, our work here is done.
And Bob did say he would be back next week, I think.
Probably not now.
Probably not. Oh, yeah.
He's embarrassed.
Well, I mean, how could you blame him? But
Oh,
there
look.
we are. Boy, it's
Gordo's
like-
working VHF. Is that
Like
6
it's
meters?
me.
You working 6 meters there, Gordo? Is that what that is? 6 meter remote control?
I
Yeah.
can do that. Look, there we go. How's that? Is
All
that good?
right.
That's beautiful. Say
Thanks
goodnight,
for being
Gracie.
here tonight. Thanks for being here tonight, everyone. We had another great show. Always fun to get with you on Wednesday nights here on Twit for Ham Nation. Bob was back tonight. Good to see him. He did have to get out a little early. I'm not sure if he's back with us next week. I think maybe he is, but we'll find out and join you again then. So before we go, Gordo, any final words from you?
My final words are, thank goodness I was not on a horse's butt. Over.
Okay. Don, I know you can't say as much, but any final words from you?
That may have been meant for me. Let's see. Who dat? Go Saints.
Okay. And Amanda, well, I think I know where you're going, but let's see.
That was my face from last night at 1:30 in the morning, by the way, with the announcement of the election. Was anyone else like that?
No, it was like 3:30.
Completely shocked. Completely
1:30.
shocked at. I hate to bring up the politics, but who can't discuss this? It was, wow, what an amazing turn of events. Just an amazing election. And thank you, everyone, for coming out and voting, I think, on both sides. So close.
And go Broncos.
God bless America. And go Broncos.
Yeah. Okay. We'll see you all again next week. 7-3 from W5JDX.